Hello, in today's lesson we're going to be converting a fraction into decimals. But today we're going to look at some interesting examples. But first let's remember how to write a decimal fraction in the form of as a fractional number, that is as a fraction. We know how to do that and write down 6 integers, the fractional line. And then we remember that there's only one sign after our dot. So the denominator would be 10 and the numerator is 5. That's 6.5. That's a mixed fraction, but 6.5 can be reduced. That is, the fractional part can be reduced. The result is 6.1 seconds. But in today's lesson, I'd like to teach you how to convert fractional numbers whose denominator is not equal to 10, 100, 1000, and so on into decimals. So 6.5 tenths equals 6.1 seconds. So how do you write 6.12 as a decimal? Let's look at an example where we need 3.12 to convert or write it as a decimal. Let's look at the previous example with you. So when we converted 6.5 decimals to fractions, we got 6.1 seconds. So therefore, I think 3.1 second, that would result in 3.5 tenths. But how did we get 5 tenths? Because we have 1 in the numerator and 2 in the denominator. The point is that in order to write it down, let's remember, in order to write down an ordinary fraction or a mixed number as a decimal, we write down the whole part and then we pay attention to the number of zeros in the denominator to determine the number of digits after our point. And that's 1 digit. I boldly write 1 whole 1/10. But in this case, the denominator is not 10. So how do we proceed? Well, what we have to do, try to make the denominator become a 10. Or 100, 1,000, and so on. What do we do for this? I'm going to take the number 10 and divide it by 2. So 10 is divisible by 2. Yes, 10 is divisible by 2. If I divide 10 by 2, I get 5. And then I bring it to a denominator of 10. So what do I get? 3 whole ones. 5 I multiply by 1. And 5 times 2. What fraction do I get? It's 3 fractions of 3.5 tenths. Now I'm going to write it down as a decimal fraction. And that would be 3.5 tenths. That is, in order to convert a fraction to a decimal fraction, if the denominator is not 10, 100, 1000, and so on, we need to find such a number by which we can multiply the denominator to get either 10, 100, 1000, and so on. One more example that we'll go over with you, 2 whole numbers. Let's take 3. 50ths equals, we're converting to a decimal fraction. The denominator is not 10 or 100 or 1,000. Then what am I supposed to do? I have to check to see if I can divide a number 100, 1,000, and so on by 50. The smallest number is 100 divided by 50. So 100 divided by 50, that's 2. The result is 2 whole numbers. Now I multiply 2 by 3. And 2 times 50. equals 2 whole. 2 times 3, that would be 6, and 2 times 50, that would be 100. We've got a denominator that equals 100. Then I can write it down as a decimal. I write down 2 integers, and then I have 2 zeros in the denominator. That means there should be 2 signs after our dot. I've only got a number, which is 1 digit. Then I write down 06, and the result is 2.600. So guys, we have learned with you to convert an ordinary fraction into a decimal fraction. If my denominator is not equal to 10, 100, 1000, and so on. And if I have a fraction that looks like this, 3 integers, 1/3. I'm going to try to convert to a decimal fraction too. I'm going to count the number 10. Is 10 divisible by 3? No, it is not. The next number is 100. Is 100 divisible by 3? No, it is not. The next number is 1000. Is 1000 divisible by 3? No, it is not. If we cannot find a number that is divisible by 3 without remainder, i.e. 10, 100, 1000, and so on, then in this case the given fraction cannot be converted to decimal. So we leave it as a mixed fraction. In the next lesson we will solve some more examples which we will translate into decimal fractions. And that's all for today. Goodbye. See you again.